Is Black Bandana, two black MMA journalists. Yeah, it's time for Black Market Picks. UFC 247 Premium Edition. I'm your host, Master of Black Negro, Lil Ross Stephen. I'm joined by my co-host, Divine Prodigy, and we're here to give you all the top picks and plays for UFC 247 Jones versus Reyes. If you tuned into the free version or not, it doesn't matter. Here's the premium version for all you paying customers. We plan to bring you a full analysis of this UFC 247 card and hopefully give you an edge in your GPP games. Now, a little added twist for all you paid subscribers. We're going to be doing a cash game version of Black Market Picks 2. And we might or might not be doing it by the numbers with CG3 Analytics. CG3 Analytics is coming back. I don't know if we'll do it this week, but we'll bring somebody in, whether it's Mike MMA Picks, if CG3 Analytics can't make it, and we'll have some more of that contact, as well as fighter points projections, ownership projections, strategy guides, cheat sheets, the whole nine. We've got it all, and we're excited about this new premium product. So you guys are our subscribers. We hope to make you happy. If you've got any concerns or anything, just head to the customer support section. Give us some feedback and tell us what you'd like to see in the future. Or just hit me up on Twitter at Black Negro Jitsu. Divine Prodigy, aka Javaz Clark. What do you think of this card? How do you feel about it?
I feel like honestly the card is kind of weak. I feel like they're going based off the name value of John Jones, like they do with so many other type of cards. It's rare you get those perfect cards, but I feel this card, for the name value it lacks, can still provide great entertainment and violence, and those are the types of cards that sneak up on you. But as far as taking it at face value, I feel like the card is pretty weak. But hey, baby, John Jones, 100K up top in the big MMA DraftKings tourney. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's get this done, man. We got a huge $100,000 top prize for the $25 contest this week, and we're trying to get you guys to the top of that. Glad to finally have a premium product and just be putting my all into this, and so I hope that you premium subscribers will be happy this week with the content. You won't be sorry. So let's jump right into this card. Our first fight is going to be debutantes, low level fight, whatever you want to call it. But Austin Lingo faces Yusuf Zalal, and I like this fight regardless of who wins, because these debuting fighters tend to finish each other or score lots of points. And I specifically like Austin Lingo. I think this may even be kind of a, gimme spot for him. He's been smashing people in the LFA in seconds, first round finishes. Lingo has looked extraordinarily impressive, and he's got a ground game too. Zalal looks like a promising athlete, but not nearly as impressive. In my film watching, I watched him be dominated by Kesik, I believe, in LFA. I was not impressed with his performance. I see a relatively, he's green. I was thinking this might be a striker versus grappler match. That was why it was put together. But watching the film, he looks like somebody that might very well get knocked out by Austin Lingo. I watched his Jose Mariscal fight, and he was not impressive in that. Mariscal is a very good judo guy, though, so I won't hold it too much against him. Then he lost to Matt Jones and just won versus Jaime Hernandez, which this looks like a gimme spot for Lingo. We can't know, though. These are two debuting fighters, but Lingo has big power. He's extraordinarily technically efficient, and he's got a ground game. I've seen him pull off a nice guillotine from guard. I like Lingo a lot. He's one of my more favorite plays on the slate. I think he could help, because even though I believe in him a lot and I know what he brings to the table, your average players won't. his ownership probably won't go past 30 this week because of the presence of John Jones at $9,400, Shevchenko at $9,500. There's some other fighters too here with way more recognizable names that are Derek Lewis at $9,000. Do you go with Derek Lewis or do you go with Austin Lingo? Most people go with Derek Lewis, so I think Lingo is going to be severely underowned. That's his opponent could pull off the victory here. I just think this is an obvious spot where the dynamite kid Lingo is being fed a capable but deficient in obvious ways. Law isn't going to try and take Lingo down. He's going to stand and bang with him, and I think that the UFC has brought him in to lose. Travas Clark, what are your thoughts on this fight? I love Lingo and GPPs. I'll have exposure past the field. How about you?
I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. This fight is one of those fights that you can pretty much guarantee 90% guarantee will finish. Both of these guys are brawlers. They're gonna slug it out. Most of their fights are finished, if not all are finished, before the distance. I know Zalal is on like a one fight winning streak, but that one fight, his last fight, I believe was a flying knee KO. And then you have Lingo on the other side, who's just putting people out left and right. I know you did some tapes that you said he also has a slick submission game, so that could also be a little sneaky as well. The grappling adds up on DraftKings. So I mean, I feel like you can take shots on both sides of the fight, but you also have to be wary that the deeper this fight goes into the rounds, like let's say the third round, maybe the better chance that one, it could finish by decision, or two, if Lingo's cardio isn't up to par, which it seems to at least check out. But if it doesn't, I think Zalal has what it takes to make the fight close, or even potentially end up stealing a victory from Lingo. Based on if the fight goes deeper into the rounds. But ultimately, I think the fight only lasts about a round and a half, and I think Lingo gets another knockout win. But of course, Zalal is live, and you never know with this mixed martial arts. That's why this is one of the truest mixed martial arts. Is one of the truest sports out there. Like you really cannot predict it. And when you think that there's a shoe in, you get the Holly Holm Ronda Rousey moment, or you get like a plus 700 underdog, or a Roxanne Modafferi beating Macy Barber, stuff like that. You really can never predict these things. We just make our best guess based on the information we have. But information and our best guess says that Lingo should beat Zalal, but this is definitely a fight you want to target regardless of who wins.
Oh yeah,
GPP.
that's one thing I'm worried about with Lingo is the fact that his fights have not been lasting very long, and he's going to be fighting here in his UFC debut. If this goes past the first round, what does he do? What is he? And we don't know that. So Zalal is an extraordinarily live dog here because as much as I like Lingo and what this looks like, we can't trust Lingo. I think he's a big-time power puncher with great combinations, accuracy. He looks like he's very advanced in his striking fundamentals. These knock-ons aren't by chance. It's because of the combination of power and technical savvy. And I think he's much advanced on his law. But if this fight gets into muddy in the second and third rounds, what does Lingo do? So you gotta like both sides of this fight. This is a very appealing fight. I wouldn't be all in on Lingo. I would hedge it. So some Lingo, some's law, but you gotta like both sides of that one. Well, I mean, I would be safe and have exposure to both people because it's never safe to trust a debuting UFC fighter. Let's go on to our next fight. We got Andre Ewell versus Jonathan Martinez. Man, how I wish one of these fighters were a grappler because both of them have grappling deficiencies. I believe that Andre Ewell's are a bit less pronounced. I like what I've seen from him lately. But this is the stiffest test that, well, outside of Sukuta, but this is the stiffest test that Martinez will have ever had. Andre Ewell is much it. I think he's the much better striker. I like everything I've seen for him except for his grappling. That's been his big thing is the grappling. He looked good against Marlon Vera until that third round where he got finished. Marlon Vera just outdid him, but no shame in that. Jonathan Martinez definitely is not Marlon Vera in any way. I don't know if Andre Ewell finishes his fight, but I like him a lot. At this point, I don't have any planned exposure to Jonathan Martinez. I don't see why I should. I don't believe he has any sort of advantages in this fight. I mean, he could win, but Andre Ewell is pretty phenomenal on the feet. It's just his grappling, you know. Yeah, Marlon Vera outdid him, but there's no shame. Marlon Vera has transformed from the submission or bust fighter we saw in Tough to a really good fighter with a great future, might be a title contender in the future. So no shame in that. But Andre Ewell is a guy I like, not love, because I don't see the definite finishing upside in this fight. But I'm picking Andre Ewell. No plan. I'd say have some exposure to him. No planned exposure to Jonathan Martinez. Divine Prodigy Gerard Clark. What do you think about this fight in GPPs?
Uh, this fight, I think is pretty. I think it'd be a pretty boring fight, honestly. But I give all of the advantages, really, except perhaps the wrestling, to Andre Ewell. I don't really think too highly of Jonathan Martinez and his wins against Wuji Van Buren. I'm not impressed with. Um, I think just Martinez is. I would say he's underrated, but I just, me personally, I don't think he is upper echelon. He's probably just one of those mid tier guys. And in this fight against Andre Ewell, we've seen Ewell have his striking is pretty sharp. His striking is sharp. He utilizes that jab. He utilizes that length. I don't like the fact that mainly his defense is lackluster and it involves him backing up. Because I mean, I think Martinez's only path to win here is the wrestling. I just don't think he's a decent enough wrestler to actually continuously get Andre Ewell there. You know, every fight starts standing. So I honestly think that Ewell just pieces up Martinez on the feet and takes home a decision win with potentially, let's say, about 60 to 70, maybe 80 significant strikes, which isn't enough in our GPP world either way. But like I said, there's anything can happen. If you want to take a shot on Martinez because his path to victory would be the wrestling, and the grappling adds up, you can do that. But other than that, I think this is Andre Ewell's fight to lose. His fight to win. If he comes in with one of those game plans where he's just going to keep the range and pop that jab out and then go from there, he should win this pretty handily, honestly.
Alrighty then, let's go on to our next fight. We've got Journey Newsom going up against Domingo Pilarte. This fight will be contested at a weight of 135 pounds. I initially was picking Domingo Pilarte, but then I went back, did my film review. I forgot who Journey Newsom was. Journey Newsom is a bad motherfucker. He's the much better striker in this fight. Domingo Pilarte is a black belt, so he's not by accolade the better grappler, but we just saw Journey Newsom up against Ricardo Ramos, who is a highly skilled, I believe, black belt jiu-jitsu competitor. So I don't think that Newsom is going to have any problems with Pilarte, unless he gets taken to the mat. Otherwise, he should win this fight. But I mean, he just fought a fighter who is better than Pilarte in every way, with the grappling and striking, and he fought a hell of a fight on short notice, mind you, just being thrown in there. Journey Newsom is one of my favorite dogs on the card. If I check the odds value here real quick, I don't know how Vegas is liking him right now, but yeah, is he climbing? No, he opened as a favorite and has dropped to a dog. So for some reason Vegas doesn't like him. Good. That's why we got a good price on DraftKings for him. But yeah, I like Journey Newsom here, and I'm gonna have a lot of him. I think he has huge striking advantages over Pilarte, and he, unless he just gets taken down and dominated on the mat, which we saw him escape some very bad positions against Ricardo Ramos. I mean, I believe that there's nowhere he loses his fight or gets dominated, and he dominates on the feet. So, Journey Newsom, man, that's like become one of my favorite dogs overall. Travas Clark, what do you think of this fight?
Um, Pretty much agree with you, honestly. I think Domingo Pilate, to me, he for all the I want to say for all the hype he had, and that last fight he didn't perform up to expectations either. But for all the hype he hasn't really lived up to it. And coming against this fight against Journey Newsom, Newsom had that fight against Ricardo Ramos, which isn't, it turns out that wasn't really a bad loss. He got the UFC jitters out the way. He fought back pretty tough, pretty impressively against a top opponent. Then he comes in against Jin Susu, and Susu, he had a little bit of flair going. His last Susu's last fight, he looked decent as well. Gave I forget the opponent he faced, but he gave him a good run for his money. So it had people saying that okay, so Susu can put up some he can make some noise in the UFC, and Newsom came out and got out of some bad positions. And in both fights, he got out of some bad positions, which shows that he can defeat adversity. He has heart. Um, in this case, it seems like Domingo Pilarte's only chance here at the victory would be through the wrestling. But I don't, me personally, I don't think that Pilarte's wrestling is um, decent enough or well enough to keep it there and have it stay there. Like I said, we've already seen uh, Johnny Newsom go through bad positions before. This Pilarte he's no Ricardo Ramos. Like Ricardo Ramos could have, as far as the three opponents that Newsom will be facing in the UFC, Ricardo Ramos was it. Like you've seen the best that those three fighters would have to offer. So it seems like Pilarte and Susan is like step down in competition. So as you fight tougher competition and you lose the tougher competition, you go back to the drawing board and you figure out, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What can I improve on? How can I better myself now that you've had that taste of okay, what the upper tier will look like in the UFC? And we surely probably don't think that Pilate is upper tier. So you take that type of stuff into account. Domingo Pilate is going to come in here. He's going to try to do his thing with the wrestling, getting it down to the ground. But let's say he succeeds. If he doesn't hold Johnny Newsom down, it comes back to start. And you got Pilate wasting energy. Nothing, from somebody who experienced it and knows that nothing is more taxing than completing a takedown, and then the guy gets right back up. You have to do that shit all over again. It's like the stamina that you burn is tremendous. So you have Johnny Newsom who's proved that he can get out of these spots time and time again and fight back. And you have to question whether Pilarte's striking is good enough to match Newsom, and the answer at the end of the day is not. So when you have this close fight, your rule is if it's priced even, play it even. I feel as though if you play this fight 10 times, I'm going to say Newsom wins about 6 of those 10 times, and for 8,000, he can be used as a sort of salary saver. He's still technically considered an underdog, at least in the DraftKings world. So I like Newsom here. I don't know if this fight will be as important as the fights we're going to talk about later on, but in terms of saving salary so you can get higher priced people, I think Newsom is a great way to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like Newsom a lot, man. When I think about this mid range, it's not a lot of fights that I'm like picking out right, but I just got in my head that I like Newsom of good taste. Let's go into our next fight. We got Mario Batista versus Miles Johnson. This is one more intriguing fights on the night as Miles Johnson's opening price is really looking to be too expensive according to Vegas because he is constantly dropping as a favorite there. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if Batista is the favorite by fight night. Be an extraordinary odds value. Open at plus 175 is already at plus 120. Um, your boy Mario Miles Johns opened at negative 245. Is down to negative 140. He is steadily dropping. I mean, prices just came out today, so we don't have too great odds values thus far. But I mean, by Saturday, Batista very well could be the favorite. I would have thought this fight would be priced a little more even, Steven. I've always thought of it as like either Johns kind of dictates with his wrestling, or Batista wins a technical striking match. But I think Johns can win on the feet too. I think this is going to be a really good fight. I think Johns' wrestling is good enough to where he should be able to put Batista down, who has deficient takedown defense. His takedown defense has not been good in any of his showings. I watched his fight on the Contender Series, and I watched his fight. I watched another fight. I watched his fight versus Jinsu Son and Corey Sandhagen. I didn't like his takedown defense in either one. So, yeah, this is a. I think this is a pick'em fight, really, man. I mean, you can't trust either side of this, just like you can't necessarily trust either side of any of these fights on this level. I mean, these are all relatively low level fighters. So I would say Batista gets the big advantage because he's $1,000 cheaper, and there's going to be extraordinary odds value on him by the time this fight goes live, to where it would be obvious that Batista should have been priced at maybe $81 to $8,400, and John should have been the underdog. But hey, it is what it is. So I like Batista a lot. John's, depending on the projected ownership of Batista, I might like him a little more because I think his route to winning is wrestling. And although Sandhagen was so much bigger than Miles Johns at 135 pounds, that he just took his back and just stagnated his production. But 3 rounds of wrestling for Miles Johns could be really, really, really rack up the points. So I like Miles Johns as a sneaky pivot off of Batista because of the massive. If Batista switches to a favorite, he could very well be owned from anywhere to mid-30s to 40%. You think that's crazy, Travas?
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy at all. Actually, no, I don't. Twitter has a way of pushing ownership up. MMA Twitter has a way of doing that.
Yeah, ownerships be crazy for these guys with odds value. And if he has if he doesn't get to be a favorite, that's a different story. But if he pushes to be the favorite Saturday, his ownership is going to be relatively astronomical in my view. It's going to be somewhere in between like 35 and 40 something percent. I mean, that's usually the way it is with these Twitter darlings. And I just don't think it should be like that. But I think you should have exposure to Batista. I definitely think the value will be relevant, but don't I wouldn't jam him in like half my lineups necessarily. It's not necessary. There's plenty of great dogs this week. Journey Newsom's a great dog. Tafa's a great dog. But Divine Prodigy, what's your play of this fight looking like? What do you think?
I'm gonna have to first apologize because I did it again. I keep fucking confusing Batista and Journey Newsom. I have no idea why, but Journey Newsom didn't fight Jens Susan. It was fucking Batista that fought Jin Susan. So I don't know why the fuck I keep confusing these fighters. Please forgive me. Everything I said about Johnny Newsom, I still believe, with the exception of his make-believe fight against Jin Susan. No, please forgive me. Back to this fight, Johns against Batista. I got the right Batista, the one who lost to Corey Sandhagen. Gotcha. In this fight, like I said, I know the Twitter mush. The Twitter mush is pretty much Batista, and I think I'm gonna have to agree. Honestly, I just think the the striking the striking here will be a thing now. Johns came in his UFC debut, and he beat Cole Smith, and that was a decent win. I don't really think Cole Smith is going to make any noise in the UFC, but I think that was a decent win for Miles Johns. Um, we know that Miles Johns is going to come in and he wants to wrestle in this fight. I think he has to wrestle. His striking, I don't think he has nearly enough significant strike output to match Batista. So I think Johns has to wrestle. And the only thing that's a problem for me is if Batista, and I know his camp, I'm trying to think of his camp. I know his camp is a decent camp to be at. And if Batista is working on his defensive grappling, and even if Miles John gets a takedown, if Batista can just continuously get back up on his feet, it's gonna be a long day for Miles Johns. Um, Batista is, is the better striker by far. He's sharp. He has precision. He strikes at a very good clip per minute, and all the signs are pointing down on Miles Johns and pointing up on Mario Batista, which is why I can see why he is the Twitter mush. Now, of course, with these types of situations, you, in terms of exposure, you want to get exposure to this fight when you have an underdog like Mario Batista. At like you said, this pricing is a little bit crazy. The disparity between the two fighters. You got Johns at 86 and Batista at 7-6. If a fighter that's 7-6 wins and wins, let's say handily, and doesn't put up a terrible score, puts up let's say 70 or more, I think you're gonna need that fighter because of course those underdogs open up so much more on the actual card. Uh, those higher price fighters like the John Jones, like the Alex Morono, like the Valentina Shevchenko, like the Derek Lewis and stuff like that. So on one hand, you want to fade the Twitter mush, and Miles Johns can get an impressive victory. I don't think Miles Johns is worth it, honestly, regardless of whether he wins or loses. I think 8-6, like you said, is a little bit too much. We know his game plan is going to be to wrestle, but if those if those takedowns aren't if those takedowns aren't hitting, or let's say he does get a takedown, but there are no advances and he's just pretty much like stuck in a half guard for the whole round, that's terrible. That's a terrible score for that round, and that continues the whole fight to be a terrible round for that fight. I mean, a terrible score for that fight. And we said the striking isn't just nearly high output enough, not as technical, not as precision to keep up with Mario Batista on the feet. So, honestly, I think I'm going to go with the public here and see that, by fight night, like you said, Batista could end up being the favorite. And of course, if that happens, everyone and their mother will be on Batista for the odds value. And I think in this situation, it's always about the spot of the fighter. And I think in this situation, Mario Batista has what it takes to get it done, and I think he gets a victory here. And I think you're gonna need him. You're gonna need him. So give me my guy Batista to win this fight.
This is multi-industry strategy though. So in that case, I want to pivot to Johns a lot.
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, when you talk about the output, fucking Batista in his last fight, 129 significant strikes. You take half of that, that's already about 60. Then you add the 30 points. the upside for 7-6 is potentially too much to deny. It's too much.
True. I would not deny. All right, let's go on to the next fight. We've got Kaylin Chaos Williams versus Alex Moreno at Morono, excuse me, at $9,100. Like I said on the free edition of Black Market Picks, I like Morono. He has every advantage in this fight, and he's got a healthy statistical output of strikes per minute. Let's go to fight metric real quick and look at Morono's statistical output. And I know it's crackers like Derek Lewis and freaking John Jones, Shevchenko are all in this price range, but Chaos Williams doesn't belong in the same octagon as Alex Morono this weekend. He's not better on the mat. I can see Morono winning by submission. On the feet, I think Morono is way more technically efficient. Morono has black belts in, I believe, both either Taekwondo or karate, and definitely in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. 4.42 strikes landed per minute. I like his output. He had 81 significant strikes against Max Griffin. Not as nearly as many against Zach Otto, but that was a first round TKO. Well, that's first round TKO. So 25 significant strikes in that first round. 98 against Kenan Song. I really like Alex Morono, man. He's a hell of a fighter, and I think he's fighting several rungs below his competition, and he should be super contrarian for that price range. But I just like his upside, and I like the potential for him to finish his opponent. He has huge skills advantages over Chaos Williams, who's clunky with his striking. He's off balance. On the mat, you can take his back, advanced position. Like, Morono is better everywhere. Everywhere. This is Williams is on short notice. Like, everything isn't working in Williams or against Williams, and everything is working in Morono's favor. Divine Prodigy, what's your analysis of this fight? I think Morono is an excellent pivot off of this should be more popular Shevchenko's Jones. And your boy Shevchenko, Jones, and also I don't remember one more person that I think should be highly on this price range. But they don't come to my mind. Oh, Derek
Black
Lewis.
Beast?
Yeah, Black Beast. And I think Morono has just as good of a chance of really showing out as any of those guys. So, what do you think about this play? I like it right here.
I think you're right. That's the name of the game. When you play these GPPs, you want to maximize your upside. You know, you let the casuals that are going to play this game, and there will be casuals, you let them play Valentina Shevchenko. You let them play the John Jones of the world. Give them the high ownership that they should rightfully seek. But you play these low owned plays. Like, between the three people you just named, and now we include Alex Morono as the fourth. Morono, in theory, should be the lowest owned fighter of those four, but he has the potential with this opponent to put up more points than all three of them, and that's what we're looking for, of course. Yeah, Alex Morono, to me, he's really never been that good. He's a tough guy. He brings an intensity, and he comes to brawl, and he'll be in your face that whole fight. And that's the part we love. But, like I say, it's always about the spot. The spot here against Callum Williams, I think Morono should win pretty damn handily. He's like a minus 260 favorite for a reason. If this was Diego Lima, I would go Diego Lima. I think the resurgence of Diego Lima is real. I think he's finally showing that Lima potential like his brother has. But since Lima had to bow out of that contest, and this is Callum Williams now, or Kalen, however you pronounce it, I think this is Morono's fight to lose. I think he actually gets a submission victory here. Williams isn't. That's not to say Williams is bad. He's definitely a decent fighter. I think this fight is too big of a step up. I also believe that Williams only has about 4 wins against opponents with actual winning records. Uh, that's not really a lot, but those UFC jitters, they are real. They will take effect here, and it's different when you have a guy who is as well as savvy a veteran as Alex Morono, who's on a 3-fight win streak. Though those three opponents aren't really exactly the cream of the
So hold
crop.
on a second. Williams is 9-1, and you say only four of those wins are over opponents with a winning record.
Yes.
Wow. So most of his wins, he's a can crusher. It's terrible, and he didn't look that good against the cans either.
Yeah. So I mean, and then like I said, you have Alex Morono who's been in here. He knows exactly what it takes. I don't rate his last three opponents that highly. I always say Max Griffin sucks. Kenan Song, we know he's trash. Zach Otto, I guess that was the best one of the three, but Zach Otto has never been any type of world beater either. But like I said, it's all about the spot. Callum Williams is a significant step down between those last two opponents that Morono faced, being Otto and Morono. He's probably on a Kenan Song level. But like I said, I think Morono can take this any way he wants to take it. But I think Williams is in for a rough night. I think the moment that bell rings, Morono's going to come forward like we know he can. He's going to push the pace. He's going to push the aggression, show that intensity, and I think he's going to get Williams to the ground and then submit him with the rear naked choke. And like we said, for 9,100, when you have the John Jones of the world, the Shevchenkos, the Derek Lewises, those people that are known to score big points and make splashes in their fights, and be all this entertaining and stuff like that, and are well known than Alex Morono, because it's like, who the hell is Alex Morono? Why is he 9,100? Especially if your people are looking at fantasy points per game. I think Alex Morono is a sharp play, and he will be the lower owned of the four top tier studs, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. I like Alex Morono a lot as a contrarian play, off of especially John Jones. I mean, Shevchenko could dominate, but I think Chukagian is not that bad anymore. Like she's pretty good these days, and I think she may stagnate. Like she's little Holly Holm Jr. We know what Holly Holm does to fantasy production. She just kills it. So yeah, I like Morono a whole lot, but he's just one of many options. Let's go on to our next fight here. We got Andrea KGB Lee versus Lauren Murphy. I don't like KGB so much in this fight. I don't see why she's 9,200, but Lauren Murphy consistently is a significant underdog. And Lauren Murphy doesn't always beat the odds. But I mean, we look at two out of her last four fights. She was 7,500. She won. Against Jar Eubanks, she was 7,800. She lost a decision. Not so bad. Barb Handcheck, 7,300. She won. Lost against Chukagian at that price. But beat Kelly Fashos, as I believe she was an underdog there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or was she? I don't know if she was. But Lauren Murphy is always, let me look here, opening as a dog, and then she constantly beats the odds, which is crazy. And I think it's because she is an MMA lab fighter. She is highly skilled, and I just don't see why she would ever be an extraordinarily significant underdog. No, she was a huge favorite against Kelly Fashos, excuse me. But yeah, man, I like Lauren Murphy a lot as a dog. She's only $7,000 in a fight that I believe should end up going to decision. Shouldn't it? It should.
Yeah, should definitely go to decision.
It should probably go to decision.
Lauren Murphy has always been tough, always.
Yeah, Lauren Murphy is got a full set of high level skills. Like she's no scrub at all. So I don't really get the pricing here. I don't understand it at all. I don't get it. So I love Lauren Murphy. KGB Lee, I don't see how she needs value. I don't like her at all. Not because she can't win this fight, but because her price is way off. Because the odds, like Lauren Murphy is never a sexy pick. Like you might be picking Lee to win, but I mean she's not gonna finish. Lauren Murphy most likely. It'll go to decision. Well, how's she gonna rack up points? She gonna take Lauren Murphy down a bunch? Like I don't see any of that. I don't see it. So Lauren Murphy is my only option from this fight. She's a live dog. Andrea Lee is off of all of my playlists. She has no worth to me at this point. Javaz Clark, what say thou?
In this fight, it isn't really one I care too much about. I think Andrea Lee is definitely looking to bounce back, and get back on the winning track. Coming off that loss against Joanne Caldwell, which was a great fight, by the way. I believe it could have went either way. Honestly, I think Joanne Caldwell was the right decision, but KGB Lee could have definitely won that fight. Now Lauren Murphy, she's always game. She's always tough. I just don't think she has enough. She doesn't have enough, pretty much, on a skill level or like to match the athleticism that KGB Lee is going to bring in here. We know Lee. I mean, we know Lauren Murphy is getting up there in age, and like I said, she's pretty damn durable. So this fight will definitely more than likely go to decision. Well, not definitely more than likely because that's two of the same things, but this fight should definitely go to a decision. And the only thing you have to worry about in that case is how many points does KGB score in a win? Or if you want to punt, let's say you're doing a head to head or something like that, Lauren Murphy can get you excellent salary relief. And if you know she's going all the way, the distance, how many points can she get you in a 3 round fight with significant strikes or something like that? But like I said, the fight as a whole it's not a good GPP fight to target. I was thinking, maybe Andrea Lee can use some of her ground game to school Lauren Murphy, but the fact of the matter is that Lauren Murphy is just one is a savvy veteran, and two, she's tough as nails. She's not going to quit. So when you take that into effect, you realize that KGB has to do pretty much a lot of shit to bypass that salary at 9,200. I think if you're talking about the five fighters that are in the 9,000s range from 95 to 9,000, KGB Lee will definitely be the lowest owned fighter of those five. So KGB has all the skills here. Lauren Murphy is a tough cookie. I just think she's not cut out for this fight. So KGB by decision. I think she scores a decent amount of points, but not enough for 9,200. Nowhere near enough.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Lauren Murphy is, I think she might be a very viable cash game play depending on how you want to stack up. But that's for another podcast. Um, that we'll be talking on about our cash game options. Next fight up, we've got Antonio Arroyo versus Trevin Giles. Ooh, boy, this fight has a lot of potential points that could be scored here. I like both sides of the fight. I'm picking Trevin Giles to win. I believe that he's the better grappler. I thought Arroyo was black belt. No, he's not. He was almost caught in arm bars in two of his last two past fights. So against Muniz, and then also I saw him on the Contender Series get caught almost in an armbar, which was interesting. So let me see here. Antonio Royal got caught in armbar against Muniz. Almost got caught in armbar against was that only the Muniz or Regman? Stephen Regman on Contender Series 2019. So yeah, Arroyo is a very good kicker. He's got real good kicks. He's got good striking. But his grappling leaves something to be desired. And I think Giles is going to be able to match him with the striking. And then, uses wrestling to get to a win. If Giles doesn't, I guess he would be stopped by strikes or overwhelmed by strikes. This is gonna be a really good fight. I like both sides of it. I can't pick a clear winner. I'm picking Giles, but I think maybe favor um, Arroyo. It's gonna be a great fight, man, and I think it's gonna score well too because Arroyo brings it with those kicks. So, Divine Prodigy, what are you thinking about this fight? Hedge
This
life.
is this is probably one of the most um least exciting fights on the card, at least for me. Um, Arroyo, he's not bad. He's definitely a decent fighter. Like you said, he has the kicks. And me personally, when I first saw this matchup, I figured this should be Trevin Giles' fight to lose. But the thing with Trevin Giles is his fight IQ is so bad. Like it's terrible, and you can't trust the guy who doesn't have fight IQ. And so it's like he could be winning the whole entire fight. Like say the Gerald Meerschaert fight, he there was times and spurts where he was winning that fight, but then you just decide to grapple with Gerald Meerschaert, the grappler, giving Gerald Meerschaert a chance to win the fight, and which Gerald Meerschaert did win the fight. You can't trust somebody whose fight IQ is that low. And it could be a situation where Trevin Giles is doing everything he needs to do. He's up 2 rounds to nothing, and then does some dumb shit, and Arroyo winds up stealing the victory or submitting him or something like that. And you know, Trevin Giles had all the hype coming in. When he first came in, he was undefeated, got a win under his belt. Went to like 11-0, but now he's fallen. You have to wonder maybe where's his confidence at. Dropping two straight. Does he still want this? Does he still have it? Is he fighting for a paycheck? Is he fighting to actually prove that okay, he's still here? Arroyo is not going to give it up easily. Of course, he's coming for a game fighter as well. I just feel like if this is the Trevin Giles that we've been so used to seeing, the Trevin Giles that was hyped up when he came into the UFC, he should win this fight. But like I said, you cannot trust anyone with a fight IQ like that. So that's what makes it a little bit difficult for me. But I don't think this is a fight we want to target in GPPs as well either. Um,
Hmm. I like it. I think it's viable. I like some other fights in this price range a little better, but yeah. Hmm. I don't know. I don't necessarily see. I think it can finish. I like the fight. It's just one of many of these mid-range options, so that's the only thing for me. I think I like Journey Newsom better. I like Bektic versus who's Bektic facing? Bektic is facing
Dan Ige.
Ige. I like that fight better. Um, yeah, like I like John Batista better. I think those points are more sure. There's a lot of fights I like better. But yeah, very viable fight. Next fight up, we got Derek Lewis versus Ilir Latifi. And I was thinking, oh man, Latifi can get the upset. But I forgot Lewis just beat Blagoy Ivanov. And Ivanov is a hell of a wrestler. And Lewis passed that test with flying colors. So I'm not so big on Mr. Latifi anymore. Especially seeing he's only 5'8". Ivanov's like 6'2". And he couldn't really, Blagoy couldn't really get anything going there. I like Latifi because his route to victory is clear. Take Derek Lewis down. That can be done. That can be accomplished. We know that much. And, outwork Derek Lewis. That can also be accomplished. But Derek Lewis is kind of an elite fighter these days. And we know his takedown defense isn't the best, but he's kind of impossible to hold down. I mean, his takedown defense is 53%. He didn't land many takedowns. His strikes landed per minute are terrible. But dude, who does Derek lose to but the best? I mean, Cormier, Junior Dos Santos champion, Hunt champion, Chandra. That's back in the day. But these days, Derek Lewis is only losing to title holders, former title holders, and Lil Latifi is skilled, but he's undersized and he's not any sort of former title contender. So I'm picking Derek Lewis to win. I don't know if he meets value at $9,000, but he should be popular. Derek Lewis is always viable in GPPs. Why wouldn't you have exposure to him? Um, I don't like Latifi seeing it, so my grappling theory, Blagoy Ivanov is a bigger, maybe even better grappler, more varied than our boy Latifi. But yeah, man, I uh, I was high on Latifi initially, but then I thought about it. Watched the Ivanov fights. I like Lewis better, but don't think he'll meet value against a quality opponent. And Latifi, his exposure is always warranted, no matter the price. Javaz Clark, what do you think?
Um, this fight, honestly, I have Derek Lewis winning regardless of how it goes. Latifi is about 5'8", with like a 73-inch reach. Derek Lewis is about what 6'1", 6'2", with about like a 80 to 82, 81-inch reach. The big thing here is I can't back Latifi. He's looked so bad at 205 lately. Then you got him coming back up to heavyweight. I believe he started at heavyweight. Uh, Coming back up to heavyweight, he's a fire hydrant. He has the body build, but like you said, it's very hard to keep Derek Lewis down. We've seen Derek Lewis taken down countless times, but the only thing Derek Lewis has to do to get up is want to get up. He'll use that position to rest. Then when he's ready to get up, he just gets up. It's nothing that the opponent with top control can do about it. And when you're in that type of fight, we know that Derek Lewis, regardless of how you feel about him, he doesn't quit. He has heart. He's weak to his body. Body shots have always hurt him, but he even fights through that. So it's like, what really can Latifi do? Latifi's chin has been decimated as of late. Volkan Ozdemir, as I believe we both knew, Volkan Ozdemir was going to beat that ass. So I worry, Derek Lewis, if this fight, the only thing that can stop this fight is if this fight somehow happens to go to decision. And that's my only concern. That's my only worry with taking Derek Lewis. Maybe Latifi has a game plan where he just runs away the entire fucking time and avoids the right hand or the big bombs of Derek Lewis. But ultimately, you gotta favor Lewis to win. You gotta think at one point or another that right hand will land on Latifi, and when it does, Latifi is not going to be able to take that power. He's going to go out. Um, so I do like Derek Lewis. I do worry about the upside of the fight as a whole, because if Latifi comes out and makes it a scrap fest or like a 3-round affair, Derek Lewis is in no way, shape, or form paying off $9,000. But if Derek Lewis comes out here, Black Beast it up, that 9,000 is gonna, oh my god, that's 100 plus literally right there. So we don't know. We don't know. Only thing we can do is speculate. And speculations say that Latifi doesn't have anything for Derek Lewis. So we'll see how it goes. But I like Derek Lewis, of course, by first round knockout.
I like Lewis too. I like him. You always gotta like Lewis. But yeah, no Latifi for me anymore. I don't like him no more. He just too little, and Derek Lewis can't be held down. It's like, oh, no Latifi for me. Let's go into our next fight. Mershad Bekti Trish Dan EJ. I just say get both sides of this, guys. It's gonna be a hell of a fight, and I think it's gonna score a lot of points. Well, it could. It could. Dan EJ only has gas for 2 rounds. Bektic has a chin. Somebody could get finished early or late here. Or, yeah, EJ brings it for as long as he doesn't get tired. Bektic is a supreme prospect. He's got all the tools. wrestling, striking. He's a great athlete, American top team guy. Had some disappointments against. Well, he beat the shit out of Elkins, and Elkins just Elkins him. And Emmett caught him, but Emmett's a top five fighter. No shame in that loss. I'm picking Bektic, but play both sides of this guy's hedge life all the way. Bektic EJ, I think it has excellent potential. Divine Prodigy, what do you say?
The other half of the Twitter mush is on Dan Ige to beat Mirsad Bektic. Um, so I'm hoping that will drive up the ownership of Dan Ige. And honestly, I do get it. With the red flags that Mirsad Bektic has shown lately. He's shown that maybe he can fade down the stretch of fights too. He's shown that his chin is vulnerable, and most people are probably looking at the last performance of Dan Ige against Kevin Aguilar, and most people were expecting Dan Ige to go for takedowns in that fight and be more of a slicker takedown artist than Edson Barboza was. However, in that fight, Dan Ige put on a striking clinic, and it impressed me, honestly. I'm like, whoa, Dan Ige with some striking is going to be a problem. But in this fight, it's against Mirsad Bektic, and we have to remember that Mirsad Bektic at one point was the next big thing. He's still pretty damn young. Um, he got caught in his chin uh, against Josh Emmett. You really cannot help that. And like you said, he was beating the hell out of Darren Elkins until he faded. So I think now you still wonder about that.
Because he beat the shit out of him so bad.
Yeah,
That's what.
because he beat the hell out of him, tired himself out. But it's like, okay, do you still trust in Mirsad Bektic? Is Mirsad Bektic still the Bektic of old? And I think this is a fight where we can see that resurgence of Mirsad. Dan Ige, like I said, his striking has definitely improved, but in this fight, I think he'll need to use the wrestling. And if he'll need to use the wrestling, I don't think he's getting Mirsad Bektic down. His wrestling game isn't as polished to get somebody as accomplished as Mirsad Bektic to the ground. So at that point, what do you have? You have a striking affair, and I think the pop that comes from Mirsad Bektic's punches will be just a little bit harder than Dan Ige, and that's what's going to make the difference. Now, personally, I don't know if I like this fight for GPP purposes. I think the fight goes to decision either way, regardless of who wins. But I'm gonna take Mirsad Bektic, but we're gonna hope that the Twitter mush is wrong with this one about Dan Ige and betting, Dan to win this fight. But I like Mirsad Bektic, man.
I like both sides of it. It's gonna be a great fight, man. And Bektic, yeah, he got that. His routes to loss is just typical of high young prospect getting caught and finished. I think his best aspect is his wrestling and grappling. Him
I'm
getting
not
finished
sure.
on his feet is just a part of it. You
No,
know,
you don't know.
he's not necessarily a world championship striker in those small gloves. Anything can happen. Josh Emmett is a capable knockout artist. Darren Elkins is of course the damage. He can take all of it and put you away. So no shame in any of those losses. Should be a great fight. I don't know how highly it scores necessarily, but I'm thinking that it's dynamite because EJ he might come in the last round and be winded as usual because that's what he does. He's he's what do they call that? Is that a paper tiger or whatever? He's good for every bit of a round and a half. Past that, it's all bad. So I like the potential for somebody to get sparked out in this fight. I like EJ versus Bektic. Let's go into our next fight. Juan Adams versus Justin Tafa. Shit, this is GPP gold. I like Tafa because I believe he's technically better everywhere. He's lighter. He should be quicker. Juan Adams is kind of yuck. Kind of. He's a big, athletic dude with some good skills. He's got good wrestling, but I'm not saying that Tafa is Greg Hardy, but it's this is a similar matchup in that I think Tafa is more technically sound. He's not off balance like Adams constantly is. He does. I think he just does the striking portions of his game better. And then as far as the wrestling, he's training with Mark Hunt and Tuivasa and all those guys. He should get. He's training with better strikers than he's facing here. Way better. So I like Top a lot, even though he got sparked out by DeCastro. DeCastro is a top level kickboxing guy out of Cape Verde. So yeah, I like Justin Taffa a lot. I like Juan Adams too because this is a crazy stat I was looking at, dude. It's a crazy stat. Crazy stat. Let me check this out real quick. Juan Adams is averaging crazy significant strikes landed per minute. It's coming in at I believe 7.72. We go over fight metric real quick. And we've got Juan Adams, 7.32 strikes landed per minute. Nuts. 81 significant strikes against Arjan Bueller in a loss. 86 significant strikes against Chris De La Roca in his win in the third round there. Yeah, Juan Adams when he's winning, he's putting up the strikes, and I think that this fight is just going to just hedge life it out. This one should be on your GPP lineups, maybe at 100% clip. Have Juan Adams or Justin Taffa. I'm favoring Taffa by a lot, but Juan Adams too, man. I like him. Travas Clark would say Val. I'm saying hedge life, have both. What do you say?
I'm saying you go all in with Justin Taffa. Juan Adams, he's not the one. I mean, uh, to me, the fight IQ is very alarming, especially against Arjun Bueller. He was talking about how his wrestling was so much better than Arjun, yet that fight pretty much attempted no takedowns. I don't get it. Then he was talking about how he's so much better than Greg Hardy. Got finished in the first round against him. Um, I don't think Juan Adams. Why the fuck is Juan Adams 8,800? Somebody explain that to me. I don't like Juan Adams. I don't think he should be 8,800. I think all the value was with Justin Taffa. Now Justin lost to Jorgen De Castro, but in that fight, you got to remember that both of them were considered prospects. Uh, Taffa, a training partner of Mark Hunt. I know, like you said. Then you had Jorgen, who is a dangerous man in himself. And in that fight, people had both sides of the coin. People had Taffa winning. People had Jorgen winning. People had Taffa winning, Jorgen winning. So they were both actual heavyweight prospects. Now you still have Taffa, who's going to come in here fresh off of his octagon, debut. Those UFC jitters should be gone. Um, Now he gets a chance to redeem himself, and he gets Juan Adams. I think honestly, the UFC didn't make this fight by coincidence. I think they made it with the wanting to have Taffa, put on a better redemption performance. And Juan Adams is the type of fighter that will let Taffa show through. Like I said, Juan Adams' IQ is ridiculously bad, regardless of the significant strike output of Juan Adams. I just don't think it will be enough. Taffa, his wheelhouse, I believe, is the striking. We've already seen Juan Adams will go toe for toe with people on the feet. He will not shoot a takedown, regardless of whether he feels he has the wrestling advantage or not. And while that is definitely alarming, I still feel that Taffa is the better fighter overall, and I'm sure that Taffa and his camp will be working, of course, takedowns. More than likely, I say takedowns off the cage to come in this fight fully prepared. I don't think Taffa can. Taffa has all the advantages, I believe, on the feet, but with maybe the exception of the output. But I think how hard Taffa is going to hit Juan Adams will nullify that, let's say, speed or something like that disadvantage. But I like Taffa. I like him big. I like him outright. Juan Adams, to me, isn't UFC caliber. He sucks. I don't know why he's 8,800. I'm going to take all the value on Justin Taffa, and I really hope that he pulls out, because at 7,400, of course, he opens up a lot at the top. So I'm going to go with Justin Taffa. I know you're going with Justin Taffa. Tafa.
Yeah, I like Top a lot, man. I think that he should be the favorite in this fight, but Vegas is tripping, and Juan Adams is climbing as a favorite. Makes no sense to me. But jump all over Top. I like him better than Batista. Next fight up, we got Shevchenko versus Kajian. Shevchenko all the way. I just don't think she'll beat value. Kajian is Lil Holly Holm. She kills fantasy value with how she fights. If she gets aggressive, I think Shevchenko will dominate, possibly with her grappling. She's the better technical striker. Shevchenko is better everywhere. It's just a matter of can she meet that $9,500 value? Probably not. Probably not. Shevchenko is a candidate for cash games because she might be able to score 100 points here. We don't know. Shevchenko is she a healthy scorer? Let's look. 65 points versus Carmouche. Ugh, yuck. 103 points versus 109 versus J-Chick. Yeah, 100. Catch aware doesn't count. Catch a beating. Nunez Pena, 93, 92. I mean, she scores healthy enough, but not super impressive. Didn't necessarily grapple a whole lot. Kajian trains with Frankie Edgar and them, I believe. So her grappling should be on point. I like Shevchenko as a cash game play, I guess, but just because it's guaranteed points. Shabazz Clark, what do you think of his fight? I don't like either side of this for GPPs.
We ain't got to really talk about this fight. We know that Valentina Shevchenko is going to win this fight. The only question you actually have is, will Valentina outdo her price point? And that answer simply would be more than likely no. And the reason why is, like I said, Caitlin Chukagian, she just has a really funny way of just making fights real clunky. And by clunky, I just mean that she just has a way of just making other fighters just not look bad, but feel as though they're doing less than what they're actually doing. I feel like she'll run around like kind of like a John Dodson type. Like she'll run around the cage. She has that Holly Holm effect to her where she'll strike the air and make those noises like she's hitting something. And I think she's just a bad participant in terms of DFS. Like anybody around that's involved with her is just a terrible score. Now, like you said, if Caitlin Chukagian gets aggressive, then maybe we have a fight on our hands with Valentina Shevchenko can potentially counter or take her down or act upon that aggression. But when has Caitlin Chukagian done that? The only thing you're pretty much hoping with Shevchenko when you pay 9,500 is that her maybe a spinning back fist or something like that knocks out Caitlin Chukagian. But to me, Caitlin Chukagian is too active. She likes to. She literally will move around that ring for all 15 minutes playing tag, and that, well, in this case 25 because it's a title fight, but that type of herky jerky type style is enough that it can win fights in the judges' eyes. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a lock for Shevchenko, only because Caitlin Chukagian can make it look like she's actually winning, or maybe make it look like she's actually landing. But we pretty much know that Caitlin Chukagian is not on the skill level of Shevchenko to win this fight. Now, like I said, our only thing is, will Shevchenko pay off that $9,500 price tag with 5 rounds? And I don't think she does. Now, of course, this could all backfire in our face. She could come out with the first round knockout, first round submission, something like that. Put all of our foots in our mouths. But will it happen? You have 2 black MMA journalists, experts that say it shouldn't happen. So I'm going to go with Shevchenko, but I just don't think over the course of 5 rounds that she will get to that price tag. And I think Caitlin Chukagian running around will be the main reason.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go into the next fight. John Jones versus Dominique Reyes. And, boy, I want to count Reyes out, but, man, John Jones did not look good against crippled Santos, and Reyes is all. I think he's a better fighter every day than Santos. But I think John Jones should take this one. I mean, Reyes lost that fight to Volkan Ozdemir. This is not Volkan Ozdemir. This is something greater than Volkan Ozdemir. If Volkan Ozdemir can take you down and control you and stuff, John Jones surely will. John Jones is a better clinch fighter than Ozdemir. He's a better striker. I just don't. I think this is where Reyes' luck kind of runs out, and he's proven it was what he is, a former ex-football player who caught on to the mixed martial arts game very fast, very skilled guy, very good athlete. Has come to this mixed martial arts game and just like eating it up. But this is where his luck will run out, in my humble opinion. 12-0, but this isn't no Vince St. Preux. This isn't Jared Cannonier. It's not Chris Weidman. This is arguably the best ever. And I got John Jones winning this fight, but I think Reyes is live. I do. I think he can win. And I think he's a viable pivot off the 60% on Jones and GP. Reyes should be pretty low owned in this spot. I don't know if his ownership eclipses 25%. I put his ownership around there. But I don't see many people playing Reyes really because of his 60% John Jones. What is it gonna be? I mean, that's 20-some% Reyes. I don't know. Like I don't like Reyes' chances of having high ownership with Batista, Tafa, and even Lauren Murphy in the mix. I think his ownership could kind of struggle here. But I like both sides of this fight. I think they're fine for GPPs. I get lower in the field on Jones. Maybe higher than on the field on Reyes. Maybe not. I keep it push. But Travis Clark, what do you say, man? I like John Jones here. He's one of... I don't like a whole lot in this 9,000 and above price tier. But John Jones is one of the guys I like. As I think Reyes is going to force him to fight, and that could mean a big score for Jones. Who rarely disappoints. But, Vasco, what do you think?
The masses will flock to John Jones. Of course, my hope is that the box score watchers will see that, okay, John Jones in 5 rounds against Thiago Santos last fight only put up 60 points. That's not enough to win a GPP. Why would I play John Jones if he only going to put up 60? I hope that's the case. I have a feeling it won't be, but I hope that is the case, and that's what people are thinking. Thiago Santos in that fight was abnormal. We don't usually see Thiago Santos fight like that. We don't usually see John Jones be in a close competitive fight like that as well, where you could legitimately make a case that he lost. This fight against Dominic Reyes, I feel like Dominic is chewing off a little bit more than he can chew. I feel like this is too early for him, honestly. I feel like this is too early. To me, I would have given him at least one more fight, maybe against one of the other top studs that are up and coming in the light heavyweight division before he had John Jones. John Jones is motivated in this fight. Dominic Reyes has talked a little bit of trash, speaking about how athletic he is, stuff like that. And John Jones is soaking it in and using that as fuel. And we know that a fuel John Jones, let's say one that's about to face Quentin Rampage Jackson, or one that's about to face Rashad Evans, this type of John Jones we've seen can come out and just straight destroy guys because he's out to prove a point. Now, maybe he might play with his food for the first round, but that second round and third round, he picks it up. And I think, honestly, John Jones is going to win this fight by submission. Like I said, and like you said, like we both said, Dominic Reyes lost to Volkan Ozdemir. There's nothing you can tell me to make me think he didn't lose. He lost to Volkan Ozdemir, and this is John Jones. John Jones is the pinnacle of mixed martial arts. He right now is everything that any mixed martial artist desires themselves to be like. He's freaking abnormal 6'4" with a 84-inch reach. It's completely absurd. And Dominic Reyes is going to be very active. He has the athleticism. He has the skills, the punches, the precision striking to potentially give John Jones problems early on. But once John Jones takes that first round to adjust, he goes back in his corner, gets the advice from Garrett Jackson on what adjustments he should make. He goes out there and
Greg Jackson.
not Greg Jackson. Who's the other? Who's the other fucking guy in his corner? Shit, what's his name?
John.
Huh? Yeah, Mike Winklejohn. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Mike Winklejohn. So once he gets it from Michael Winklejohn or whoever's in his corner, the adjustments that he makes, John Jones always comes out and he turns up in that second round. He turns up in that second and third round. He gets his method down. He has his strategy all laid out, and then he just starts putting it on. And for somebody like Reyes, Reyes is still new to this game, and at least in my mind, he hasn't really seen everything that the UFC has to offer. I mean, his best opponent, like we talked about, has been Volkan Ozdemir. While No Time is a decent fighter, while No Time is a great fighter, John Jones is levels ahead of Volkan Ozdemir. Um, I don't see how John Jones loses this fight. Of course, there's a puncher's chance. There's always a puncher's chance, but we haven't seen anyone punch John Jones to the point where we're threatened by the fact that, okay, maybe John Jones' chin is depreciating, or maybe he's really, really hurt. We haven't seen that happen yet, and I don't think Dominic Reyes is the guy to make that happen. So I have John Jones in a big way, and I think Dominic Reyes gets humbled here by a motivated John Jones, and I think for 9,400, a motivated John Jones will pay that price tag, y'all.
Are you there?
Yo, I'm
Yeah.
here. You heard me, right?
Yeah. You said a motivated John Jones. What?
Yeah, a motivated John Jones will finish Dominic Reyes off, definitely.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for this edition of Premium Black Market Picks. I hope you guys enjoyed that. All of our subscribers. Make sure you tune into the cash game version of this too. We'll catch you later.